The gold lane, arguably the most frustrating and difficult role to master. You might not get any help at all, but everyone will target you. So how do you stay alive? By being the smartest guy in the game. If you want to get a free epic skin, make sure to watch until the end of this video.
Let's go!
As a marksman, you have the least control over the outcome of the early game. In the laning phase, it's important that you last hit your minions. Be aware of potential ganks. And don't die. Since most junglers finish their rotation between the first and second minute, try to play extra safe between the minute 1 and minute 2 to avoid the obvious gank. Choosing the right marksman is very important to win the laning phase. Some marksmen are strong early game, where others are weak and needs to wait for their core items. Knowing how to counter the enemy marksman can also be very beneficial during the laning phase. But at the end of the day, having a good response to the enemy marksman pick will be enough. Please note that these guides are all based on laning phase 1 versus 1 and does not consider team fights or late game.
My life be like,
In winning matchups, you want to pressure the enemy, make them recall, and take advantage of your strengths. In losing matchups, your goal is to stall the time for as long as you can, wait for ganks or core items, respect your opponents when they're stronger. You should only trade health with your opponent if you are the winning matchup or you're confident that you win the trade.
Are you sure you want to delete Hanabi?
Let me think about that.
delete! Delete! Delete!
I wanna be appreciated. I wanna be appreciated.
Freezing the lane is an important part of gold lane. There is 2 ways to do it. A mid-freeze can be risky because it puts you closer to the enemy tower, while a tower freeze is safe because you stand near your own. A mid-freeze happens naturally. All you have to do is stand in between your enemy and the minions. Punish your opponent when they try to farm. It's only recommended if the enemy is busy on the other side of the map, since it will leave you vulnerable to ganks. To do a tower freeze, you clear the 2 small minions and let the enemy clear his wave. Then you hold the cannon minion and stand in front of your own tower so it doesn't take damage. The goal of a tower freeze is to create space for your teammates to gank your opponent while keeping you safe under the turret. Denying XP and gold is a bonus but not necessary. If you see the enemy recalling, clear the wave as fast as possible and push the tower, but keep an eye on the map. A tower freeze can also be used to prevent the enemy from starting a mid-freeze if you are losing your matchup. Don't get mad when you're getting ganked. Be smart. Do whatever you can to survive. If you don't see enemies on the map, always expect that they're camping in your lane. If you think someone is camping in this bush, hitting the gold crap from a distance will reveal them. But be aware, this trick only works if they're standing in the middle of the bush. If 3 or more enemies wants to push your tower, it's better to give them the tower and run. It's not worth dying for. If teammates are nearby, request backup. They might just come and help you.
Oh shit, not good.
But most importantly, don't panic and keep your head cool.
Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic! Bruh.
Pushing a tower is risky, that's why you always want to estimate the threat. When all enemies are visible on the map, you can push safely. When 2 or more enemies are visible on the map, there's a medium chance that you'll be ganked. If no enemies are present on the map, there is a high threat, and in that case you never want to be pushing the tower alone. You shouldn't rotate in the beginning of the game, unless you play a strong early game marksman and the enemy is low HP. You can start rotating when the first tower falls in your lane, regardless if it's your own tower or the enemy tower. Depending how much vision you have on the enemies, these are the optimal paths for rotation. The most common mistake I see marksman players make is that they get a lead during the laning phase, then they start rotating and gets killed. Being a fed marksman puts a bounty on your head, since the enemy team would want to shut you down and stop you from snowballing. That's why it's important to take caution throughout the whole game. Notice how I'm waiting for the tank to give vision. If you're having problems getting vision from your roamer, I recommend using this quick chat.
Get vision for me.
What are you doing?
Hmm?
What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
An ally has been slain.
You have seen bennyqt do it.
He tries jumping southward, turns around, finds Skyline as well as Finn, then push through. Benny, I can't take.
Marksman is the most vulnerable role. You never want to engage first. The key to a good position is to isolate yourself from the fight, so that you are only in reach for 1 or 2 enemies, while keeping distance from the rest. That way you can output a lot of damage without being in great risk of getting targeted. Wait until they use their CC skills before cleaning up the fight. Let the jungler have the gold crap in early game. Buy steel leg plates in early game if the enemy gold laner and jungler is physical damage. Bait your opponent if your teammates are camping. And remember, if the enemy marksman plays suddenly aggressive, it could mean that he has somebody camping in the bush. Another mistake I see marksmen make is when they get behind in gold and get desperate to farm. Don't die for gold crap, and please, don't die for a minion. If you're 2v1 in gold lane, that's a good thing, because that means your team is at a number advantage. That's also why you should tell your roamer that you can solo your lane if he wants to babysit you.
When the roamer has been feeding in your lane.
Don't call me. Don't come by my house. We're done.
You should never die to get a kill or be far away from the team in mid and late game. Stick with the tank as much as you can. Remember, if your teammates don't gank you, you can ask for ganks or ask to swap lanes with EXP. You always want to be in the place where you can farm most freely. Always try to split push whenever you have the opportunity, but be quick and read the map. Enemies will target you if they see you're alone. Sometimes you feel like taking a risk to get a kill, but when playing marksman the risk usually isn't worth it. Here I was just lucky that I survived.
Marksman is both the weakest and strongest role in the game. Know your power, but remember your limits.